Big news coming out of the BRICS group this week. Of course, BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the new geopolitical competitor to the West. And they've just added 6 new members. This is massive. We're talking about some very, very big things happening here on the geopolitical stage that have the potential impact to rewrite the face of global politics in the coming decades. And that might sound a bit hyperbolic, but when you realize the numbers behind what's going on, you see the trajectory of what's going on, you start to look and realize, like, hey, wait a second, something's going on here. BRICS has added 6 new members. Now they're officially joining on January 1st of 2024, a few months away. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia. Pretty big stuff right there. Now, I think one of the most important things, and this kind of excludes Egypt and Ethiopia from the conversation a little bit, although Egypt and Ethiopia, of course, also important countries, especially in the Northern Africa region, without a doubt. You know, Egypt's got a booming population, all this kind of stuff. Okay. Important countries. Argentina, also great, big food producing country. You know, they're very impactful. One of the biggest commodity producers out there. So, you know, a great addition as well. And of course, Argentina, especially if there's some kind of new reference rate for BRICS currency in the future, could really benefit from this partnership. They're already starting to do bilateral trade with China in Chinese yuan, so on and so forth. I think we'll see more of that. It's part of the story today as well. But the big thing here, I think we have a new oil cartel in town. And that new oil cartel is not on the US dollar standard. They're not down with the USD. So let's look at this. Saudi Arabia is number 2 producer in the world, joining BRICS January 1st. Russia's number 3 producer in the world, already member of BRICS. China's number 5, already member of BRICS. Iran's number 7, joining on January 1st. The UAE, number 8, joining on January 1st. Brazil's number 9, already member of BRICS. So with the new members, BRICS is going to control global oil markets. It will be as impactful as OPEC. It's big stuff. Big stuff. Some of the biggest members in OPEC, of course, here as part of this grouping. But together, they control about 80% of world oil production. I mean, that's big news. That's big, big news. We got a new oil cartel in town. And as well as being a massive oil cartel, all these countries combined, massive food producers for soy, corn, beef, coffee, stuff like that, rice, as well as massive timber producers, massive gold producers, massive steel producers, massive manufacturing potential. It's a big thing. The BRICS group is expanding out. It's going to be 11 countries now. And of course, what's interesting too is that the BRICS group now controls the most important sea lanes basically on the planet, except for the Panama Canal, of course. Panama Canal is very important, but they control the Suez Canal thanks to their new partnership with Egypt. And of course, they control the Persian Gulf. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iran, the 3 major exporters out of the Persian Gulf, minus Iraq, of course, but they are now joining with the BRICS group. Big implications here for global politics, to be honest. Also, of course, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia pointing out that the kingdom is the largest BRICS trading partner in the Middle East in total bilateral trade with countries, the groups exceeding $160 billion in 2022. And that trade balance is going to be moving to yuan, moving to rubles. Potentially, we're going to see some gold-backed trades at some point in the future. And while we just had 6 new members announced for the BRICS group, there's over 40 countries that want to join. Well, I guess 34 countries now, or 34 plus countries that want to join. That's a lot of countries. It's a lot of countries that are, as this article points out, sick and tired of the Western-led world order. They're looking for an alternative. BRICS is offering an alternative. And BRICS is, once they get those new members, this is way more powerful than the G7. Bigger GDP, more resources, more manufacturing, more population, more GDP growth. It's pretty crazy stuff. Just saying, guys. Now, before we get into the rest of this BRICS story, just a quick note. If you are a crypto investor and you want to take advantage of the coming bull market, whenever that may be, by investing in altcoins, which tend to be the biggest earners during market cycles. Bitcoin's great. We all love Bitcoin. The big boy might give us a 5x, a 6x between now and the market cycle top. Altcoins can do 10, 20, 40, 50, 100x potentially. But you got to be able to find good ones. So that's why I made Mastering Altcoin Investing. It's the kind of course that I wish I had when I started investing in altcoins. We cover the basics, the fundamentals, the technical aspects, the philosophical ideas behind altcoins, how to find token sales, how to get airdrops, different approaches to investing, market cycles, strategies on buying, strategies on selling, trader psychology, and much, much more. You'll find a link for that in the description of this conversation, or you can go to the wealthmastery.io/courses where you can learn more about that or our Bitcoin course as well. Now, let's talk about a BRICS currency. Now, BRICS currency might be on hold for a little bit. Now, Brazil's president called on Wednesday for BRICS nations to create a common currency for trade and investment between each other as a means for reducing their vulnerability to dollar exchange rate fluctuations. This previously has been talked about as potentially being either gold-backed or gold-pegged. Potentially a basket of commodities could be the peg for this. That would be gold and silver and oil, steel, corn, wheat, whatever it might be. A basket of commodities, real world stuff backing a potential BRICS currency. We'll see. They didn't announce a BRICS currency at this meeting. Maybe next year we'll get a BRICS currency. I'm sure it's in their plans for some point. But one thing that has come out is that we are going to see more currency exchanges not happening in dollars. Brazil's president doesn't believe nations that don't use the dollar should be forced to trade in the currency. He's also advocating for a common currency in the Mercosur bloc of South American countries. Now, South Africa said that the BRICS currency is not on the agenda for this summit. India also saying not super keen on a BRICS currency right now. Russia's president saying focusing more on trading in national currencies between the countries. So there's interest there, but it's not happening quite yet. I think it will happen at some point. But the big thing is that they don't even need to launch a BRICS currency. And that would just be like a high-level trade currency. It wouldn't be the currency people use in a day-to-day in the street, right? It would be just for trade settlement and stuff like that, which is why it'd be interesting to have it backed by commodities. But if we see India buying oil from the UAE and not using dollars, which they've already done, we covered that story. If we see Saudi Arabia taking oil deals from China in yuan, which we're already seeing, it's already being talked about, where does that leave the US dollar? Countries are increasingly moving away from the US dollar, and the BRICS group's currencies are not going to be US dollar denominated trades. They're going to be trading in their own domestic currencies, or they're going to be trading in a future BRICS currency, which will be backed by gold and whatever else, which makes a lot of sense. At some point, the swapping of domestic currencies is probably better to have a bridge currency or something like that, which would be a BRICS commodity-backed currency to make it a more even playing field between the countries. But that is problematic long-term for the US dollar. What happens when countries aren't demanding to be paid in dollars for their oil anymore? They're saying, hey, you know what? You can pay in yuan. We'll take some gold if you got it. You want to pay in rupees? That's fine. That changes the dynamic of what's happening in the world dramatically. Because one of the reasons why America has maintained so much power over the years is because of the reserve status of the dollar. And if that starts to be eroded, which is already being eroded, that could spell long-term trouble for U.S. debt. Crazy stuff.